We're going to finish section 1.3. It's really 1.2, but I would like to show you the stem plot before the histogram. We are going to show you, with the same data, my heart rate, how to create a histogram. Now, a histogram, what is a histogram? It's a special kind of bar graph where the bars always touch. It's used for one quantitative data. And what we're going to do is we are going to create a frequency table. And first thing you want to look at is, well, how many bars do I want in my histogram? And that's how many classes you're going to create. I used 6. It's usually between 6 and 10, somewhere along that line, depending on how many pieces of data you have. How you figure out the range in here is you take your largest, the 180, minus 60, my smallest, and get 120. Divide by the number of classes you want. Get 120, divide by 6, and you get 20. So from 60 to 79 is 20. I'm including 60. And then from 80 to 99, 100 to 119, and so on. All I do is count how many numbers are between 60 and 79, and there were 14. And then from 80 to 99, there's 6, and so on. There were 35 total pieces of data. Then what I created was something called relative frequency. Relative frequency is just a percentage out of the entire set of data. So it's 14 out of 35, 6 out of 35, and so on. Obviously, they should add up to 100%. You can create either one, a frequency histogram or a relative frequency histogram. I'm going to attempt to draw one, and I'm going to do just a frequency histogram. And mine, and you see that little squiggly again? I'm trying to draw because we are not starting at 0. Now, this is not going to look great, but I'm going to attempt my best to do this. So hang in there with me, okay? It's not easy drawing on this Mac with this pen. I'm not drawing it, I'm doing it with my finger, so. 5, 10, 15, because 14 is my largest number. So I know I'm going up by 5s, going from 5, 10, 15. Now, on here, I got a couple choices. I could write the range in there, or I know what my numbers are, so I can start at 60, go to 80, 100, 120. You get the idea. Believe me, this isn't easy to do with on the Mac. It's so much easier to do by hand. So you'll be drawing them by hand. You don't have to worry about doing it on the Mac. And then what I do is just go up 14. Over and up. Alright, then we go to 6. Almost hit right on. Then I go to 5. I'm off a little, but that's fine. You get the idea. 4. Back up to 5. And lastly, 1. That's a pretty good one. Now, I would title this thing. You know what it's supposed to look like. And I would also label my axes. So you want to make sure you do that. You want to make sure that not only do you title the thing, but you also, so someone would know what the thing is if they come in and look. Then down here, over here is always frequency. here's my heart rate. It's getting worse. It's all right. You have an idea. You understand what it's supposed to be. So this is a beautiful histogram. Well, it's a histogram, not necessarily a beautiful one. Last thing I'm going to show you for this section and for all of chapter 1 is how to do this, a lot of this on the calculator. Just like I promised, I'm now going to show you how to do this in the calculator. And you may ask, like, why in the world do I need to know how to do this by hand if my calculator does a lot of the calculations for me? Well, in the AP exam, sometimes they'll give you something like this, like the stem plot, and ask you to identify where Q1 is. They find ways around it because the exam is supposedly be able to be done without the calculator. So let's look at the calculator, though, because it does help us with a lot of the things. This is your home screen. We're going to go to Stat, Enter, and this is where you enter data in your lists. This is list 1, list 2, and so on. I entered the data. You're going to do it in L1. I'm going to show you how. Make sure you're down here and you start entering numbers. And you say, I go 60, enter, 60, enter, and so on. Now, if you mess up any one, like this, you can go back and you can delete that one. Hit delete, which is right here. You should be doing this, by the way, as I do it with your calculator. It's the best way for you to learn where everything is. So once I hit delete, that's gone. Now, if I want to delete everything, I go up into L2 and I hit clear and I come back down and everything will be gone. If I hit delete when I'm up there, if I go like this, if I hit delete, if I go up here and I hit delete, see what happens. The whole thing goes away, and I don't want that. I can get it back easily. Do second, delete it, re-enters, and then if I hit second L2, which right here it actually even will give me my data back, which is great. But I don't need that. So you should pause it, enter all the data that from my heart rate video. You can pause that, enter all in here in L1. Once I have it in there, I'm simply going to go to do, well, actually, what I need to do, yours weren't in order. They were all over the place. So when my data is not in order, what I do is this, and I'm going to show you quickly here in L2 with a little example. I go up top in here, or I quit out of here, second quit, and I go to Stat, Sort in ascending order. I can hit number 2, or I could always scroll down. I hit second. I'm going to sort L2. You're going to sort L1. Go back in. They will be in order. There they are in order. Mine are in order. Now, this is helpful if you have a lot of data, and even if you need to make a stem plot, you can put them into your calculator, and it'll order them for you. You'll see when you do a stem plot, a lot of times you're doing 2, unordered, ordered. But if you use the calculator, you can do that also. All we have to do to calculate the 5-number summary, we're going to do Stat, Calculate. We're going to do this one variable, Stat, and we're going to go down and we're going to hit Calculate. It's in L1. Make sure that says L1, frequency list. You don't put anything. And you hit Enter. Now, this X bar, that's my average, 99.97. If I'm rounding the 2 decimal places. It tells me, this little arrow tells me to go down. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at my min, my Q1, my median, my Q3, and my max. It gives me my 5-number summary right there. Using the 5-number summary, there's also another graph that we create. It's called Box and Whiskers. And it's real. This one's in the calculator. Stem plot's not in the calculator. The histogram is, but it doesn't allow you to control how wide the classes are, so it's not always helpful either. So if we go in here, though, the stem plot, you'll see this used quite often, something called a box plot. It's this one here. I want the one with the 2 little dots. And what you have to do, you go down, and if you have the 84, there's 2 levels, one here, one here. Just keep going right. Don't try and go down because you go past it. And all you do is highlight this. Then you hit Graph. And you hit Zoom 9. zoom 9. If you don't get what I get, chances are you might have something else on. Everything else has to be turned off. These plots, when I go second, snap plot, these all have to be turned off. And if you go y equals, there can't be anything in there. It'll be trying to graph both of them at the same time. Back to my graph. If I want to see what these numbers are, I hit the trace button. Left, right, tells me what they are. If there was an outlier, it would identify the outlier. And then it would put a point out there by itself. And then what would it put here is just the next highest number that's not an outlier. All right, quick introduction to the calculator. We'll be using it a lot. That's the end of chapter 1.